broadcaster throughout the world from Canada. This is the Collector Car Drive-Thru Podcast, presented by Cars by Taylor. Here are your hosts, Nicole Taylor and Paul Taylor Sr.
Welcome to the Collector Car Drive-Thru Podcast. Today we are interviewing Wesam Abunowara, and Wesam is from what shop, hon?
He's from Walid Auto Body. He's out of MQLGOZRKFSORTEMC, Quebec, and a very good friend of mine since high school. So it's going to be interesting to dive into the automotive industry because we both started out very curious, wondering where we would end up in life, and yet here we are today. And interviewing him on the various vehicles that he's worked on, what happens in a body shop. This is a gentleman that has taken over a shop that his father created.
Second generation
and this
now.
is second generation. Yeah. So it's quite exciting to dive into and just get to know a little bit more. So that way we can help our viewers and those that are wanting to enter into the industry have a little bit more assistance and guidance into what a full day entails.
Right.
So tune in.
It's going to be fun. So welcome to the Collector Car Drive-Thru Podcast. Today we are with Wesam Abunowara. Welcome, brother. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Hi, my
friend. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's glad to have. We're very happy to have you. So tell me, where do you work? What do you do?
Well, I run my own auto body shop. It's called Walid Auto Body in MQLGOZRKFSORTEMC in Montreal, Quebec. I've been working there for pretty much my entire life. I basically grew up in that shop as a child. Yeah. My father had owned it. And now it's kind of like the legacy, my father's legacy. I'm kind of handing it down from father to son. And right now it's something that I love doing because it brings out my passion for cars. I've loved cars ever since I was a kid, basically. And really, honestly, it's one of the best things I've ever decided to do with myself. Okay. And so, yeah.
And when did your father open the auto body shop? I mean, I will say to our viewers, Wesam and I did go to high school together. And so I had the luxury of going to his father's auto body shop quite occasionally during my teenage years. So share with our viewers, when did your father open this shop?
Well, the shop itself opened in 19, and I'll never forget that day. It was like the whole family was there, and it was a big thing, and really it was one of the, that was the day that I started to see the shop start developing, you know what I mean? And again, it's a small family-owned, family-run business. Again, father and son working. As of right now, it's just still myself and my father doing the work and doing everything that needs to be done. And honestly, it's something that I will always be happy to do because honestly, it's one of those. It's more than just a job; it's a passion, So.
And it takes a dedication, and I'm sure that you'll agree with me on this, but working with family, it takes a different sort of dedication. But it's fun. It's a reward.
What are you trying to say?
Listen here, okay?
Listen, I'll be honest with you guys. You know what? It gave me the chance to get to know my father at a different level, right, as a person rather than my father. My dad, and honestly, right. And honestly, the fact that he sees himself in me, and vice versa, obviously, and wow, I definitely am my father's son. But honestly, again, although we sometimes bump heads, it's really, we both want the same for the shop. You know what I mean? We just want to keep our customers happy, make sure the work comes out as perfect as it can. Again, we've been functioning like this since 1990, and you know what? If we're going to continue to do it, we're going to continue to do it well.
You're obviously doing it well.
Right. Oh. So what's a day look like for you? Now, a lot of people think body shop, they get in a little fender bender and they bring it, bumper to bumper, and they bring it in. Wesam's going to make it all better for them, and then life goes on. What they don't quite understand is the background story. So tell me, what's a typical day in your shop? You're not obviously just doing body work and painting. You've got a little bit more going on.
Well, yeah, there's always the business aspect of all of it. You know, you got to take care of the business, make sure you have the stock right there available, the parts available, especially right now with the lack of parts and or transportation for parts.
Right.
It's been a little tough. So
In our
sometimes you basically
industry.
got to, yeah, that's it, exactly. And because of that, like we got to kind of work around that. So what we try to do is we tell our customers bring the car when we actually have the parts. You know, if anything, we'll have them leave a deposit if it's something they're paying out of pocket. If it's an insurance job, we'll tell the insurance, look, I'm only going to take the car when I have the parts ordered and they're there. Because again, you could be waiting for a couple of days, you could be waiting for a week, you can even be waiting for months
That's
nowadays.
really kind of you guys to be that accommodable, because you know a lot of shops go gimme and stock them in a stockpile, you know, or put them in a parking lot,
Right.
and you know
Why?
exactly.
Right.
But it shows it just shows the appreciation that you have for your customers and the same.
Yeah.
So what do you see for the future generation of the shop? Do you find that you know, it's a lot more everyday, you know, fender benders? Are you looking at getting into specialty projects?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, we've been well known as the guys to go to for good rust repair, because the thing is, we don't do the rust repair like, you know, we kind of hack it up. No, we cut off the metal, rebuild the metal properly. You know what I mean? Weld in new steel. If we can find them already pre-made, we'll order them pre-made and then adjust them to size and weld them in properly. And then, you know, we do the job the best we possibly can at all times, you know, because any job worth doing, it's worth doing the right way the first time. I hate doing the same job twice. So, you know what?
Pain in the butt in the automotive industry when all of a sudden it comes back.
Yeah,
No.
I hate comeback.
You better just do it the right way the first time.
Exactly. And you know what? It's so much more worth it to let your customer take their car, be super happy and grateful. And what more do you want? You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Happy customer, happy life, right? Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. So is there one thing in the shop that you've become an expert at over the years that you never thought you would do?
Honestly, it really comes down to my own paint work.
Okay.
The thing is this, like I'm good with body work, and I'm good with things out of sheet metal and basically fabricating my own metal parts and everything. So, but one thing I'm also really good at, and I never thought I'd be as good as I am, is the painting. I've actually had a customer see a job that I had just painted. It was still in the paint shop prior to even being polished, because we always polish up if there's any little dust or any little things that, again, it's inevitable.
Those of in the industry, we know.
We know.
That's it. So, but no, like he actually came in and was like completely surprised at how beautiful the finish was prior to the polishing. And I told him, well, look, this is the paint work that I enjoy doing. I like to try to beat my, you know, kind of challenge myself every time with every paint job, try to be better, make it as perfect as I can, you know?
Right. Very neat.
It's interesting. It's something that I've wanted to ask you about and talk to you about, but your favorite project that you have done thus far. Do you want to tell our viewers about your favorite project?
Well, this is my favorite project. I mean, it's actually my own project. It's my 1980 Volkswagen Scirocco.
This has been a dream, my friends, of Wesam. Wesam has talked to me about this when we were in high school.
How can I forget? How can I forget?
Well, you know what? You know what's really funny about this right now? It's funny because you guys were the V-dubs in high school.
Oh, we were.
I was the guy already running around in the Corvette, the 76 Corvette.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talk about that diversity in the automotive industry. You got the hot rod guys looking at the Honda guys. We already had that in high school. And I remember doing that in high school going, oh, come on.
We were the juniors. So I think it was what we could afford, right?
Pretty much.
I think it was what we could afford.
And let's be honest with each other, those V-dubs, they were fun back in the day. They really were
still fun.
I will still, even at that time, I always had an appreciation for all cars because, hey, if you like cars, you like cars, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's in the blood. It's in the blood.
Exactly.
I think
It's
it
in
was
the blood.
just easy for us. And I think that's probably where you and I actually bridged in our teenage years.
Yeah.
Speaking about automotive, and my father came from the automotive industry and took me under his wing as well. And then, there was my good friend Wesam, and his father was doing the same thing and taking, his son under the wing. And look at who we are today. And we're both, in the automotive industry today, and that passion still stuck with us. So what stage are you at with the Scirocco?
Well, I mean, it's essentially mine and my father's. Like we're essentially partners.
That's awesome.
And you know what? I wouldn't want any other partner other than my father. You know what I mean? He's the one who built this place. I'm there just helping to continue his legacy.
And your father was always inspirational. I know that, many times going into the shop, he never said, get out of here, you kids. I'm fed up with you. No, it was welcoming, and he was always showing us different things that he was doing. And Walid was always a very educational man for me. And whenever I met him, so it's so cool to see that you actually stayed with your passion and followed that, because the resiliency, there's so many kids right now, and we meet quite a bit of apprentices that are coming in.
Right.
and we do have this downside where, they're almost that tunnel vision. And it's, I was told to do this, and this is what I should do. And in another podcast that we did, podcast number 3, we talked about how, it takes that older generation to invite us in. And if they were standoffish, then we probably wouldn't have wanted to enter into the automotive industry, because it is a very difficult industry to come into just like that.
It really is. Yeah.
That's really cool that you get to do that with your father, and, just take the time and have the memories, and then have the same passion to be able to see that develop and see it come to life, if you will.
So are you in a position yet where you're already mentoring? Obviously your dad is a huge mentor for you coming up, coming up around the shop. Are you already in a position where you're mentoring somebody else? What's next generation coming?
The thing is,
he's getting married.
He's
so
getting
the next
married.
generation is coming.
So you're working on it. I'm pushing it too hard. I'm sorry.
I'm getting there.
Let's give Ari some time here.
Yeah. Look, I already feel bad for the poor girl. I'm like never home because of how many hours I work. Okay, so
right. It is a very hard industry for a lot of wives. Yeah,
it really is. But you know what? She's only been nothing but supportive. So I
marry her, my friend.
Oh yeah.
Put a ring on it. Show that ring, honey. Put a ring on it.
Which one? That's the thing. I never know anymore. After you've been together so many years, they ask for more rings.
Yeah, no kidding. But
give me a ring in 10 years from now, brother. I'll give you some advice. We're going to run to a commercial break, and we're going to be back with Wesam in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Canadian Automotive Restoration Specialists.
Cars by Taylor is your car concierge in Eastern Ontario and Western Quebec. Are you buying, selling, or trading? Do you need maintenance services, modification, or restoration? Maybe you just need some consultation on a project or need a vehicle moved. We're here to provide services for your collector, classic, sports, or luxury vehicle. Check out our website at carspecialist.com or call us at 613-371-4440. At Cars by Taylor, we know we're not working on just any vehicle.
CARS, Canadian Automotive Restoration Specialists.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for being with us today, Wesam.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
I
for
have
having
to
me.
ask you, given we're the Collector Car Drive-Thru Podcast, so let's ask you about your experience on classics. I know you've had a few through the door. Can you tell me about it?
Sure. I've had a 72 sorry, it was a 67 Chevy Impala that I had restored. That thing was in horrible shape. I had to essentially cut out half the quarters in the back, but the guy didn't want to go to the full degree of like stripping her down to bare metal and A to Z do the perfect job. But for what he wanted me to do, I did it as perfect as I could, and it came out really nice. There's that. I've done countless classic Volkswagens. There was a couple MK2 Volkswagens that were actually somewhat modified, like tailgates shaven. I've actually done it was a 76 Camaro. That one was fun. That one was it was kind of a bit of a rough one. Things seen better days, but that guy wanted to do it A to Z, and I was happy to do it. And stripped her down to bare metal, restored it as perfectly as we could, tried our best to repair the metal like as perfect as we can before putting any type of finishing putties or anything. On a classic car like that, you want to use as little amount of putty. I mean, that's with anything you do, really, with any type of job you want to do.
No, but it's, you touch base on something, because sometimes it's the customer that limits us.
Yeah.
And
that's it. I mean,
people looking in don't realize that sometimes sometimes the budget that limits how far we can actually take the car down before we start to pull it back up.
Well, that's it. It really comes down to what they want. I mean, if they're willing to pay for the whole 9 yards, hey, I'm happy to do it.
Right.
But if you're only want me to go this far, well, I'm gonna go this far. But I mean, I'll always try my best to go, even though let's say they tell me, do it up to this point. Okay, no problem. I'll give it a little extra just for me to them, just to kind of like, just show them that I appreciate their business.
A cherry on top, if you will.
Exactly.
Very cool.
That's it.
So have you had the opportunity yet? I know you're in the Montreal car scene. I know you guys were both in the car scene back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
We won't get into that now.
That's another segment.
Have you had the opportunity? I know it's fun for us, and it took a few years, to be honest with you. I know it's fun for us when you turn out a few projects, but then when you go to a show or you go to a car group and you go,
that's my work.
That's mine. And the owner goes, well, no, that's mine. but you get to see your own work. Have you had that luxury?
Not as of yet. Only because the ones that I've done, they were mostly for the people themselves. They wanted them as their driving car, like their summer driving car.
It wasn't a show car.
It wasn't really a show car, but I still treated it like one, just for the fun of it. Because hey, if they're willing to go that far,
it's nice to hear you say that. Yeah.
You know what?
It just goes to show the professionalism.
Right.
It really does, because I mean, I could tell you some horror stories and like some vehicles that have come in, and you think to yourself, was there a lack of budget on this vehicle? What happened? Do you remember the Bondo chipping off the
Fiat? You're always thinking that Fiat.
Yeah, well, because I think that was the horror story Fiat of our time, if you will.
I think it's actually in the edit of somewhere, one of our promos. But yeah, it was a 72 or 73 Fiat that came in, and it wasn't until we got to the right hand bucket.
Yeah.
And one of the body men grabbed the hammer, and you figure you're just going to knock a bit of it out.
Just trying to chisel some of it. Well, I mean, it was coming out in
that was 3 inches
chunks. Thick. And I had to say to the client, who did this?
Right. Who would do this?
Who would? Right. And who?
There was no attempt. I mean, that's a big light bucket. I mean, to get in there and knock it back out and at least make it look like a golf ball and then go from there. Yeah, you could have done that. You could have. No effort.
No effort at all. It was a quick job, and we tried to get to the bottom of it, but it created frustration for our team. I won't lie. And it got to the point where my body men were coming and saying, this is enough. If nobody cares about their project, why should we? And so we created a poster that we put around our shop that said, would you buy?
Would you pay for
what you just worked on today? Right. And it really changed the dynamic and the thought of a lot of the employees in the shop. But also when the customers walked by, I think it was an eye opener to them too, of going, wait a minute. Okay, what am I doing here? I have the, to create the analogy, I have the appetite to go eat a steak and potatoes but I'm going to go grab a hot dog, and it's, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you hear that a shop goes above and beyond, even though that they've been commissioned to do said items, it just speaks levels of the professionalism and the passion that you have behind you.
Well,
So-
that's it. I mean, look, any job worth doing, you know what, just do it well, do it the right way the first time, and, have some type of, I guess the
Vision?
best way. Not even that. Take pride in your work. Take pride in what you do.
Yes.
Do it because you want to do it and you love doing it, or don't do it at all.
Don't do it all. Well said. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think that we're going to jump right into Nicole's full throttle questions.
It's time for Nicole's Full Throttle.
What's your favorite thing to do when you're not working?
Hiking.
Hiking.
I love to hike.
Well, you're going to have to come to the Quebec Hills with us, and we'll take you hiking on our favorite
Yeah,
trail.
It's time for Wesam to get up to the cottage.
It
darn
really
right.
Oh, I'm down. I'm so down for that.
So what talent do you have that most people wouldn't know about you?
Really, my knowledge on audio, old school audio. I have sound systems, really.
And if you could move anywhere in the world, where would you move and why?
I honestly I would have to say anywhere Bora Bora. Say, like,
That's awesome.
near Bora
Dude.
Bora.
Okay, well, you'll have to ask Ari if I can come with you guys. I'm going to fit into a suitcase.
No problem.
So if somebody saw you at a car show and they wanted to approach you and give you some food at the car show, what fast food at a car show would they bring to you?
Honestly, let's say donuts.
Donuts.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
honestly.
I'll have some
I
donuts.
love sweets. I love sweets. Got sweets.
What do you do to treat yourself? What is something that you would do to would you, what do you do differently? Do you, buy yourself something on a Friday night? Do you rent a movie? What would you do to treat yourself?
Honestly, if I really wanted to treat myself, it really would be taking a nice cruise just on my own on some winding road. Like, honestly, like when you go up north and all that, go driving through. I love that. That's, to me, is the best, most relaxing thing in the world.
Open invitation to the cottage, my friend. You're going to love it.
And you'll
Thank
love
you.
our winding roads.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
Oh yeah, I would have fun.
I had to tell somebody to start slowing down because he would go through the winding roads
They're fun.
and he would watch my father do it for like 20 some odd years. We'd be in the vehicle with my dad, and my dad could do it with his eyes closed, and he'd run those roads at like
Yeah,
what?
sure
100
would.
Well, anyway, we're not going to incriminate him because
Right.
he's passed on. But what we are going to do is explain how fast he went through the roads. He was able to make every single turn. And then Paul, when we came back to the area, Paul said, yeah, I'm going to do these roads. And I went, yeah, my dad had about 30, 40 years on you of experience with these winding roads. But I have to say, we haven't had any issues or anything, but they're just so much fun. So my motorcycle will be coming out a couple weeks time, and I think we're gonna take a drive. So what is one of your favorite colors? I know in the industry, it's so hard for people in our industry to choose one favorite color, but if you can choose one favorite color.
Well, honestly, my favorite color is a burgundy, but that pearl burgundy, that really rich. I'm sorry, I'll always have a soft spot for that one. It's such a beautiful.
And if you could prefer city living or country living, what would you
Country.
choose?
Absolutely country. Oh yeah, I'm so sick of the city. I've lived this more or less. Well, I mean, at the time, Westland was suburbs, but it's becoming like the city now, and now I would want to go farther west,
Well, I'm going to bring us off to a commercial right now, and we will be back with Wesam.
A message to owners of classic and antique cars, trucks, and motorcycles. Your Canadian source for new quality tires is Selmar Autoville in Eastern Ontario. They're the authorized Canadian agent for Universal Vintage Tires and Finland's Kontio Tires White Paw Classics. We can get what you need for your precious vehicle, dating back to the early 1900s up to the muscle car era. Check out our website at www.selmar.ca or call Fern at 613-632-6363 for a quote. Don't leave your vehicle in the garage because you need new tires. Drive your past in the present with Selmar Autoville.
Welcome back. We are with Wesam. Thank you, Wesam, so much. I have a couple other questions for you. So, you know what's interesting about yourself is you a major diversity of vehicles that you're working on. By the sounds of it, you know, your classics right down, and obviously being a body shop, you're a lot of the grocery getters. And we've already covered
Grocery
it.
getters.
Well, you know what? They're just as important as the classics sitting in the garage. These are the vehicles that we depend on every day to go get our food, get our medicines, and take our kids to school. So let's not let's not forget about them.
Yeah.
But so tell me about, do you have a project that you've had, sports car, something, do you have something in there that just it sits in the top of your mind that's, you know, this is the one I would talk about, my favorite shot, my favorite project? Or...
Well, honestly, there was one project that I had done with my brother. It was a MK2 Golf with, it had the rear tailgate shave. We installed an actual opening for the license plate in the bumper with the lights. Back then, there was a completely kind of straight bumper, but
Right.
We molded it into it. At the time, there was like little grills on top of the hood. Those were shaven, the handles were shaven, everything was all on electrical pumps, and it was one of the nicest Porsche. It wasn't a Porsche Blue, it was actually if I can remember correctly, it was actually a Honda Blue enhanced.
Okay.
And it was a VR6 conversion. My brother did the conversion. At the time, those cars needed some frame modification for that engine to fit properly, so I did the modifications for him. And once the car was done and painted and everything, the car looked beautiful. And we basically did it for someone who was buying the car when it was done, basically.
Okay.
So, and that guy was super happy with it. He loved it.
That's so cool.
So tell me, in your toolbox, and this is something I like to ask Tex,
He loves this.
Well, it's fun. You know, we do so much. Most people look at some of what we do and they, you know, it's, again, you're just body work, you're just mechanical, you're just electrical, you're doing it all. So I want to know, what's the favorite tool in your toolbox?
He asks employees this too. Before we hire them, he will ask them.
And a little bit of background. I mean, when it comes to electrical, a lot of people don't realize I'm an aircraft maintenance engineer as well. So when it comes to tooling, I even have some tooling that's specific to aircraft, but I'm able to bring over to automotive for depinning connectors and stuff like that. You know, have you got something? Have you got a cool trick in your toolbox?
Well, I mean, there is one that I have. It's called an edging tool, essentially. What it does, it basically indents the edge of the metal when you're doing metal patching, and just so that when you, instead of overlapping on one piece, that it becomes a lot more even, makes it a lot more perfect whenever you're doing like proper rust repair and patchwork. It tends to give you a much nicer job. Well done, you know what I mean? Like, it looks good, less putty, you know, like that's what I want to do, is minimize the amount of putty that I put on my jobs. I figure the better the metal is repaired, the better the job ends up being.
So a favorite tool and an underestimated tool. Very cool.
Very underestimated.
It's funny because, you know, just like the show, I'll be honest, I don't know if our viewers have noticed, but we are moving up, my friends. And so I think that, you know, when you go into the industry, I remember my first toolbox. And do you remember yours?
I do.
I remember.
I do.
I remember your first toolbox, and we still have it. And what's really cool is that, you know, we've developed over the years this passion for different tools and different needs, and, you know, look at a tool and say, okay, you know, I can use this for a variety of different things. And so, you know, I laugh and I bring the correlation together, because even with this show, we started off with what we could. And now, Lord and behold, look, we have a beautiful new camera, my viewers and my guests, and we have mics that actually are properly, well, in our vision. I mean, before they were off to the side, and we evolve, and it just shows that, in anything as humans, that's exactly what we're doing, and we're trying. And, I think it shows also customers, viewers, everybody down the line. I'm getting better, and I understand that there's improvement needed. And, the more you keep pushing forward, the more success you see.
Yeah,
it's so cool to see you where you are right now. I was saying to Paul, like, I remember in high school, you sharing that passion. I remember our co-op teacher. I remember those times of you and I just having that automotive mindset, and it just wasn't working in the class that we were in at that given moment.
No.
But friend, it's so nice, and what an honor today to be able to have my friend from high school who also landed in the automotive industry. And I would really like if you can tell our viewers how they can get a hold of you. Sometimes there's an apprentice coming in and they think, you know what, I want to be a body man, but I have some questions.
Somebody on the island wants their car done right.
Somebody on the island that wants their car done right.
Yep.
And, how could they get a hold of you?
Well, there's a couple of ways you can get a hold of me, either by my phone number, which is 514-696-5262, or you can reach me online at info@walidauto.com. And just send me a message.
And you're on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken.
I am on Facebook as well. Yes, you can also reach me on Facebook.
That's awesome. So what we will do is we will definitely be seeing you. Yeah. I think that our next visit, maybe we should go down.
I think so. Yeah. I think we should pay a visit to the shop.
Come visit.
I mean, you guys should come down.
I haven't seen you in years, and I haven't seen your father's shop, and I would love to say hi to your dad.
I would love to see you guys come anytime. You're always welcome. It would be great to see you, seriously.
All right. Well, I want to wish Wesam and Ari the very best.
Yes.
Wesam is leaving right now to go and get his suit for his wedding. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And we wish you all the very best.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. And thanks for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Have a wonderful day, my friend.
You too. Take care, guys.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
That was amazing.
That was fun.
It was so much fun to interview a friend, to be honest with you. I mean, I know a lot of the people that we've interviewed have been friends, or we know them some way along the journey, but a high school friend?
Well, I knew he was nervous too, and he looks like a pro.
He was such a pro. Way to go. And again, I just want to say to our viewers, I'm sure that you've been able to see, we have been able to change our cameras, change our mics. So we want to say a special thank you. We are moving on up.
Come check us out.
Thank you so much to Silmar Marketing for helping us in this progress and change as we evolve. And we want to thank our guests, but more importantly, our viewers. So thank you so very much for always tuning in with us and wanting to know what we're up to.
Thanks to everybody who has subscribed, and to everybody who is going to subscribe. And do you know how do you do that? On Patreon.
And follow us on YouTube.
Please do.